Hello, Southland fans. Welcome to the 2023 SLC Women's Soccer Season Preview Show. I'm your host, Callum Squires. Thank you so much for joining us for what promises to be an exciting show as we get to chat to each of our 9 women's soccer head coaches, plus a student athlete from each team. After a fascinating 2022 season, the Lamar Cardinals were crowned both regular season and tournament champions, and we'll be asking head coach Nathan Kogut how his squad will go about trying to defend their title in 2023. Plus, we have some new blood in the SLC. We'll chat to Northwestern State, new man in charge, Brophy, about how he plans to get the Demons back challenging for the SLC Crown, as well as UIW's Jake Plant, as he seeks to reestablish the word as a powerhouse within the Southland Conference in his first season in the job. We'll be asking each team how their preseason has been going, what their hopes are for the new season, and what it will take for them to lift the Southland Tournament Championship trophy in early November. Plus, stick around for the end of the show and we'll be reviewing both the preseason poll and our 2 preseason all-conference teams. But without further ado, let's kick this thing off as we begin to go around the grounds and check in with each of our Southland Conference women's soccer programs. And joining me now from the campus of Nicholls State University in Thibodaux, Louisiana, is head coach Robert Podine and senior midfielder Coco Bonadonna. Coach Coco, thank you so much for being here. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, honestly.
Enjoying it, having fun this preseason.
Great. And Coach, you're heading into your 3rd season here in the Southland now. What have you learned from those first 2 that's going to help you prepare and be ready for the challenges ahead this year?
Well, going through 2 full seasons, coming out of COVID with it, it's a really competitive conference. All the teams do a great job of fielding, strong competitive teams, and we've just done our best to kind of build a program that'll compete at that level. So we feel like we've made some excellent strides in the off season. And I think this season represents the best program that I've been here as a part of since we've been here. So.
And how has the preseason started? Obviously hot temperatures, new faces to bed in. What's the vibe been within the camp?
Well, I think the atmosphere is great. Chemistry is terrific. I mean, they're getting along very well. New players have really been accepted in. Other than some bumps and bruises, I think we've really improved in the week we've been together. And so now it's just a matter of just kind of putting the pieces together, getting everybody healthy that we can get healthy, and gelling on the field.
And Coco, you've been an integral part of this team. You've started 38 games across the past 3 seasons. Now as a captain, how can you use your experience to welcome and help the newcomers bed into this team?
It's all about creating a sense of family and community for everybody. We don't want people to come in and be like, I can't fit in here. I don't know about these girls. Like, making it as comfortable as possible so the transition can be smoothly for everyone.
And Coach, speaking of those newcomers, you've got 12 within the new squad this year. What kind of talents do those young women bring to this roster? And are there any that have already caught the eye that we should be looking to in terms of making a big impact in the Southland this year?
Well, actually, we have 14. So 4 of which actually joined us in the spring. So they were with us in the spring. They got to train with us. 3 of those were from Spokane Falls Community College, junior college transfers who they won their Northwest Championship up there. I think they finished 3rd in the country as far as national rankings. Very accomplished players. And then we added a 4th one from that squad this fall. So we brought in a little bit of experience, players with a bit more, kind of maturity in the game. And then we brought in 9 freshmen in addition. The 9 freshmen, everywhere from, we've got a kid from Hawaii, kid from California, kid from Utah, a kid from Iceland. And it brings us just that interesting kind of blend and mesh, where it's just different personalities, different cultures, and they've been a lot of fun. We've got few freshmen that have really stepped up and kind of made their mark early, and the junior college kids same way. So it's good to see there's not a drop off, because I believe we've got 33 players on our roster, a couple kids injured, but we're 33 players deep. The nice thing is we don't see a drop off when we're going to the bench. So I think for the first time in the 3 years I've been here, we have talent in the 11 on the field, and then we've got depth when we bring players from the bench.
That's great. That's great. And Coco, obviously we've spoken about it, and Coach has just alluded to it there. 3 years with Coach Podine now. Take us behind the curtain a little bit. What is a preseason with Coach like? I mean, very smiley and friendly here, but what's the reality of the situation for all those of us outside the program?
Well, I think the biggest thing I should have shown up in it, but I didn't, is before preseason, we all get a lovely, vibrant shirt that we have to wear to meetings, practices, and basically everything in between. And you're in this shirt for about 3 days until you pass all of your fitness tests, and then you're rewarded with your gear. It's a really bright neon, orange shirt. Everyone's looking when we're on campus, what are these people doing? But it honestly just pushes you and motivates you to do your best on the fitness test, because honestly, wearing the same shirt every day, having to wash it every day is exhausting. So.
Well, that was going to be my follow-up, was, are you allowed to wash it between days, or is this coach making sure you wear it 3 days straight?
I would sure hope so, because the smell would be horrible, horrible.
Coach, let us in a little bit on I guess the psyche behind that and where that started.
Actually, I gotten that from a friend of mine at a school that I kind of helped coach at UCF, and it was the mindset is that we are all together, we're all in this, but there's a goal, and so and it's one of those things where it's kind of an earned reward. I see different fitness tests and different schools, but the mindset is that everybody encourages everybody to pass these fitness tests. So it's just it kind of when you have some that struggle and haven't. You see the team step up and help them support it. Plus, when you kind of give that off-season packet and say, hey, this is what happens, it's a 15-week program, you've got to follow this. If you don't, you're staying in that neon-colored shirt. It's a little motivation, because you don't want to be the one player staying in that orange shirt. So we're in that neon-colored shirt. So it's a little motivation. It kind of helps everybody kind of come together, because they want to make sure they help their teammates kind of pass that test as well. And it helps that bonding early on as a team.
A little motivation never hurt nobody, right? Perfect.
Right.
Coco, as you look ahead to this season, do you set individual goals for yourself above and beyond the team ones? I know it's not necessarily your role to be leading the team in offensive output, but would scoring your first collegiate goal this year, would that make a big difference for you?
Well, considering I play defense, it's kind of a long shot, but I just want to go in this season as my last season to have fun, and I want everyone else to have fun. And when you have fun, I feel like you play your best. So maybe I'll get in on a corner kick and score a header. You never know.
Awesome. And speaking of having fun, I think it's good to allow our fans to let them get to know you a little bit and what the locker room is like. So who's the best dancer on the team? Who's the one who's getting you hyped up before the games when you're getting ready to go to war?
Well, that's a really good debate on our team right now. We have a few girls that obviously love to do TikTok dances and stuff and create TikTok dances, but personally, I would say I'm one of the best dancers. We just put on like Louisiana type music, and everybody joins in line dances and stuff like that. And it's funny because the girls that are out of state that really aren't familiar with the music, they've caught on and they join in with us. So it's really fun.
That's awesome. So we can look forward to some good, well choreographed goal celebrations later this season.
Absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Coach, just to finish with, I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on a couple of pieces of your resume that are incredibly impressive, especially with someone from Europe here. You know, you've previously worked with Ajax and Vitesse Arnhem and Borussia Mönchengladbach and even Atletico Mineiro in Brazil. Those are incredibly impressive institutions to have on your resume. What was the experience of those professionals clubs like, and how did that help inform you as a coach here in the U.S. college system?
You know, when you know, any experience is a valuable one, and you know, when I first started kind of the international side and had the opportunity through you know, world-class coaching and Mike Safe, who runs that organization, where he actually had me kind of get involved in traveling and doing those things and meeting some of those clubs and those people and those high-level coaches. You know, you kind of go there, you know, with the experience that you have, thinking, hey, I'm doing pretty well, and this is going to be great. And then you go there and realize maybe how much you don't know. So it can be kind of humbling that way. And so each time I've done it, it's been you know, an experience where you kind of step back and say, okay, wow, well, this is, you know, a different way to look at things. And it just kind of helps you kind of keep things into perspective and understand what's important. But at the same point, it definitely kind of helped round me and make me kind of the coach that I am. You know, in England, there was a gentleman named Terry Mole, and you know, he passed away in 2013, but he worked for the FA and helped me get my credentials through the FA. And that is somebody that, you know, to me was just an invaluable resource I never would have met and never would have enjoyed that relationship if I didn't take the chance to do those things. And so Ajax just kind of felt the same way, going over, working with Ajax, working with Vitesse. You know, just incredible experiences working with those people and just learning about their culture and how they do things as far as development.
That's awesome. And while we're learning, you know, just to finish with talking about you knowing what you don't know, for all of us outside of the program, what's something that we don't know? What's something that the rest of the conference doesn't know about Nicholls women's soccer heading into this season?
Well, we've kind of laid a foundation for rebuilding this program and moving it into one that is going to make us more competitive. And it starts with building team unity and chemistry. It doesn't matter how talented the players are. If they don't enjoy being with each other, you know, as Coco said, a family kind of thing, if they don't enjoy being with each other, and because, you know, you travel together, you eat together, you're staying in, you know, hotels together, dorms together, classes together. You know, I always tell them you're with your soccer family more than your normal family every single year now for as long as you're in college here. And so you have to kind of, you know, work on that relationship. And so I don't know if there's going to be very many teams in our conference that have the chemistry that we have, and how much they are committed as a program to wanting to be successful and wanting to really change this program as far as its trajectory and its competitive level. It's, you know, as a coach, it's fun to watch them, and it's just a privilege to kind of work with them.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much, Coach, Coco. Thank you for taking the time. We wish you nothing but the best this year, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys on the field.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And joining me now are two very special guests from UIW in San Antonio, Texas, also suffering in this summer heat, I know. Coach Jake Plant, welcome to the Southland, and Peyton Adams, senior at UIW. Thank you both for taking the time to talk to us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Coach, I'll start with you. You've had a very intriguing career, largely at Eastern Illinois, up in the north of this country, but again, originally from the UK. You were a student athlete there, assistant coach there, head coach there. What played into the decision to move, and why this challenge at UIW in the Southland Conference?
I'd say that, I mean, I think I was looking for a fresh challenge, first of all. And I think that I have a connection here at UIW with the men's coach, Kiki, who I basically worked under at Eastern Illinois as well. So just understanding what the university was about, what the team was about, and what the city was about, it became very easy to kind of be pulled away from Charleston. I mean, Charleston is a special place to me for obvious reasons. I've been there for 10 years. But obviously coming down here, I found out pretty quickly the awesome things that the team, the university, and the city has to hold. So great place to raise my family and stuff like that too. So I think all in all, it just benefited the professional and the personal side of things. So that's really the main thing.
Bit of a different climate, I think it's fair to say. As I touched on already, the Illinois cold to the Texas and the heat of the South. How's that adjustment been? Are you keeping the sunscreen on, staying out of the burn?
The first comment when I walked in the locker room today, like, "Coach, you look red." So I guess not. But yeah, I'm loving the heat, to be honest. I think 10 years of Illinois winter and 2 years of Iowa winter will make you enjoy the sun a little bit more. So I always dreamed of living in the sunshine, and then I moved to Iowa. So we got there in the end. Texas has been great. The weather's obviously great. My wife's originally from Florida. She's loving it too. So it's all smiles.
And Peyton, you're a daughter of Texas, originally from Frisco, where our conference office is based. How do you think Coach has settled into his new surroundings?
I think he's done a great job. Maybe a little more sunscreen can help a little bit, but other than that, he's keeping us in the heat, which is good, and keeping us trained for it. Awesome.
Coach, preseason in a new city and with a new team is obviously going to be a challenge and a change of scenery for you. How have you approached, rebuilding this program and putting it back where it wants to be, competing for Southland Conference championships?
I mean, I think it was pretty obvious when I came in what the ambition of the group was that was here, which was to get it back at the top, and I think that's where I wanted to find it. And so in terms of the rebuilding side of that thing, it was minimal work. I think when you got a motivated group to get going, they're kind of all ears, they're bought in right away. They trusted me pretty quickly in terms of what we're trying to do and the direction we're moving it in. So that made things really, really smooth. So I think the main thing is this: we just want to be competent enough with our playing style, competent enough with the cultural identities and what we stand for, and overall just make sure that we're all, the girls feel like they're growing and getting better every day. So we're just trying to structure everything around that constantly. Keep teaching. I like to describe myself as someone that likes to develop, players across the board. That we need kids to want to learn, and they've been that from day one. So it's been a real pleasure.
And you're looking forward to this non-conference schedule, which is almost a tour of Texas, shall we say? You're playing almost every school within the state, from Rice to UTRGV, A&M International, UTEP, Sam Houston, UNT. That's going to give you a chance to really test yourself against teams that are used to playing in this weather and highly competitive in their own conferences. What do you think of that non-conference schedule, and where's the excitement level like to kind of test yourself against competition in the Lone Star State?
Yeah, I think we're excited to get going. I think I keep saying that the ambition of the group is there. So, I know they're excited to kind of compare themselves to maybe where they've been in the past, especially players like Peyton who've been around for, 3, 4, 5 seasons now. So we're excited to get it done. There's a lot of good teams that we're playing against. Everybody's a good team that we're playing against. So I think that just preparing ourselves steadily, keep chipping away at the rock all the way through, opening up the conference season with Lamar. I think everybody that we play is going to play a role of getting us better. We're excited. We put it this way: my attitude as a coach is to play as hard as an opponent as possible all the time. They know that by now. That's where I'm about. So yeah, we'll play anyone.
Great. Looking forward to seeing you guys play everyone, honestly. Peyton, you're hugely experienced as coach has just touched on. You played 68 games across 4 years at UIW so far, which is a mind-boggling number. Firstly, I mean, how are you? How has preseason been going, and what's the vibe within the camp getting ready for Coach Plant's first year?
It's been good. We've been very energetic. I think we brought a good mentality coming in, and he's brought in a lot of teaching skills. And I guess just my job as being here for as long as I've been is just kind of leading the way and following under Coach Plant's wing, and continue to teach the girls and just keep up that mentality. But we're excited for what's coming and what we have in hold, for sure.
And what sort of adjustments has the new coaching staff kind of made so far in terms of maybe playing style or the way you're trying to operate within a program? Have there been any major changes?
We've played around with the formations a couple bit. I think we're more dynamic now. I think we've been stuck in one formation for a long time since I've been here, but I think we can now play the ball, move the ball better, and we're just thinking better on the ball and off the ball.
And I know you spent your summer playing in the UWS and with the San Antonio Athenians at, a very impressive and high level. What can you take from that experience into this year in the Southland that can help you be a leader and push your team forward?
Yes, sir. So it's been a fun experience playing with the Athenians. There's a lot of older girls within that UWSL program, so it's cool to learn from them. They played at bigger schools. I've played with people around schools all over Texas and even out of state. So it's good to learn from other players and their experiences and learn how they play and just push to get better. So I think I can bring that in and teach younger girls as well what I've learned so far.
Awesome. And coach, building a new squad is difficult every year in the college game when you're constantly losing talent and cycling new talent in. But equally, in a new environment, that adds an extra challenge for you as well. How have you found it with the returners and the newcomers and kind of molding the group into the culture that you want to set there at UIW?
Yeah, I think you heavily rely on the returners to welcome the newbies in, making sure we had 3 transfers. One is very familiar with me coming from my previous school. So you're trying to help that everybody that knows your standards already from January, at least, that they're really trying to get everybody up to speed really quickly. So leadership like Peyton and some of the older heads that we have in the group, they're doing a phenomenal job of just, like Peyton said, just keep the course, keep chipping away, keep learning, keep your ears open. So the group has been molded together pretty quickly, in my opinion. There's a lot of new kids that have come in that really, Victoria and I feel very happy with what they're doing, mainly because I think they feel welcomed in and I think they feel comfortable in their own skin in what they're doing here. So the fact that the returners have played their major role to get the newcomers to be playing well, I'm giving a lot of credit to them.
Awesome. And, for someone who may not be familiar with your time at Eastern Illinois, what can someone who tunes in to watch UIW this year look forward to in terms of how you're going to play and how you're going to approach each match?
Me and Peyton were just outside talking about the preseason and just sort of asked her how's it going? And I think that something that she mentioned that I think everyone against us will probably come out and say the same things, that we're just going to bring a real heavy intensity to everything that we do, the competitive edge that we're going to have in every single day. I feel like you can control that every single time. And the game that we play, there's a lot of uncontrollables. We can always control how intense and how competitive we're going to be every single time. So like I said, my comment before about we'll play anyone is because that competitiveness and that intensity, we can bring that in some form. So yeah, I think that moving forward, that's going to be, that is a foundation of ours. Yeah.
Awesome. And Peyton, what do you think this UIW team can be? You're now going through preseason. You're getting to know the new talent. You obviously know the returners. How do you see the potential for this team this season?
I think we have great potential. I don't think we've had a stronger group come in this year. We have a lot of talent. We're eager to learn, and we have a strong mentality. I think we focused on mentality so far, and we're going to keep pushing and keep chipping away, like Coach Plant said. And I think we're going to end up in a good position for sure.
Awesome. And just to finish up, to give a little bit of insight into this new team that you've got here, who's the funniest individual within the group? And perhaps even Coach can chime in because he's getting to know you as well. But who's the funniest person in your locker room? And equally, who thinks they're funny but really isn't that funny? And you can say Coach if you need to, but
that's tough. I would say, I've only known her for a little bit, but Faith is very funny. He can speak more to her. He's been around her a lot more, but Faith coming in has been very, very funny. As for who thinks they're the funniest, maybe Addie sometimes. She can crack herself up pretty quickly, but she's funny as well.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us. We're really excited to see what you guys put out on the pitch this year. Coach, again, welcome to the Southland. Glad to have you with us and really excited to see the revolution down there in San Antonio.
Thanks, Callum. Appreciate you.
We're excited.
And joining me now from the campus of McNeese in Lake Charles, Louisiana, is head coach Drew Fitzgerald and senior forward Magali Depot. Guys, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
Great. We're happy to be here. Appreciate you taking the time.
Of course. We're very happy to be able to get a chance to talk to you. Coach, you're heading into your 8th season at the helm at McNeese now. Does it feel like that long? Can you believe it's been 8 years all of a sudden?
No, I can't. It's unbelievable to think about that it's been that long. And then you'd think it gets easier, you'd have everything down, and I still feel like I'm running around chicken with my head cut off every preseason. So I'm sure that's a personal problem, but every year I think, okay, well, this time it's going to be all easy. We've done it, and every year it's something new. So that keeps it interesting.
Well, speaking of something new, obviously you're welcoming a significant number of newcomers into the squad. After 7 years going into 8 in this league, what do you have to tell your newcomers about what playing soccer in the Southland is like?
We just tell them it's on the next evolution for them. They know that, and you can't figure it out till you're out there. So we try to create an environment that makes them feel like they're in a game, and it's still going to be tougher when they get out there. The great thing is our freshmen this year really took it on to be prepped physically, so they did the work ahead of time. So we feel really good that they're going to be ready to step in and help us.
And your squad is made up of a very intriguing mix. I saw you talking about on one of the articles of incomers, of 5th years, of returners, and obviously of the newcomers. What has that kind of landscape been like, and what is the makeup of the squad right now?
Well, it's interesting. I guess it's probably what you want. It's a good mix of upper and underclassmen, but it feels like the younger ones are a huge group, and maybe we've been top heavy for a while somehow. So it's a little different teaching and learning, but it's been great in terms of the older players welcoming them in and then giving them some advice. And we've even had, some people on the sideline. Some players came in a little banged up, and they're getting advice about how you deal with that. So it's been really fun to watch the mentoring aspect of it.
Magali, thank you for being here as well. You're a long way from home, which is something I can relate to. You were obviously originally from Montreal in Canada. How long did it take you, and have you even adjusted now to kind of that heat and humidity down in Lake Charles?
I always come back earlier throughout the summer. So, for example, this summer I came back in the end of May, got home for 2 weeks and a half, and got back and started to work, going to train in the mid-afternoon and really get used to that top heat to make sure that when season comes in, I'm fully prepared and not in shock by the weather.
Do your friends and family think you're crazy for being willing to play an outside sport in a city like that?
Absolutely. My mom would text me sometimes like, oh, it's very hot here. And I'm like, Mom, this is not even near the temperature here. And I would send her the temperature. She's like, are you serious? Are you going outside right now? I'm like, yes, I'm about to go train, Mom. But yeah, my friends they think it's unbelievable, but I mean, it's amazing at the same time. So.
Well, and speaking of ways to beat the heat, I was doing my research and discovered that you guys had a bit of an ingenious way to do that with starting preseason this year, with your first ever, a brand new tradition, a midnight practice, which sounds both intriguing and terrifying to me. But Magali, what was that like for you as a student athlete?
It was a first for me too. I am not a late person. I go to bed very early. I treat myself to stay up that late too. Like 2 weeks in, just going to bed at 1 a.m., just trying to get my body ready. But I think it was a way to just see if the players are ready to do anything to be a part of this team, this culture. So it showed a different side of girls, and I thought it was great. I mean, obviously the heat makes a huge difference. So it's nice to do that at midnight just because you don't have that same impact, but it's definitely a change for sure. But I actually enjoyed it a lot.
And I believe I'm right in saying that it allowed you guys to watch the US versus Portugal game together right afterwards, right?
Yeah,
That's
we
right.
did. Yeah.
That's right.
In that situation, Magali, are you team Portugal? Are you team USA there?
I would say I'm more team USA. I love how they do all this kind of videos, like mic'd up practices, and they're very out there on the social media, which is nice compared to other national teams. They're just very out there, and they advocate for other things outside of the sport, and I respect that. So for me, I'm very into it just because I don't necessarily have access, to being at the games at the end of USL or something like that. So for me to have that access, it's really nice. So I've been following the national team actually since I would say 2019 that like I know more. But yeah, Team USA, I love their mentality. They chase everything they can. They just want to win. They're winners and they're very high competitors. So yeah, I would say Team USA.
I hope there's no issues with the Canadian side there for sure. And coach, with the idea behind that midnight practice, where did that come from? And is this something that you see becoming an annual tradition?
Yeah, I mean, I think we really enjoyed it in some regards, but I'll tell you that it seemed like such a great idea 3 months ago. Like, what a good idea. We're going to really kick it off. We're going to do something different. We're going to, we're going to put our stamp on it, and then about a week out, I was like, I'm in bed by 9:30. I got a 5-year-old and 6-year-old. It's going to be miserable. I was kind of like her. I was trying to stay up later and later. And then we were like, oh, the U.S. game, about 2 weeks before, we're like, the U.S. game is right after. We'll do a watch party. Great idea. Until that morning, you're like, wait a second. I'm going to be up till 4 a.m. So yeah, I actually think it was great, but it was one of those ideas that seemed really good ahead of time. The closer you got, the more you feared it.
And speaking of new ideas, you've obviously got a new addition to your coaching staff this year, bringing in Juan Yepes, who's obviously going to bring new ideas to the program. What does he give your staff that you perhaps haven't had in previous years?
I think it's been interesting. All the assistant coaches come through, bring something new and unique. But Juan, being from Colombia, that he's got that connection. He's got kind of a South American flair to how he views the game. But he's also traveled the world and coached in Romania. He's been all over the place. So he really brings a tactical mindset that's different than we've had. He educates me every day on the tactical side and some ideas. And then his logical progression of what we should train, the order we should train, has just been phenomenal in a different way a way that we try to think about it, but he does it at a very high level. So we're excited to have him. And then he's great with the goalkeepers. So that part was really important to us, that they had a good coach because we had a great coach last year with them that was engaged and willing to help him out. So he's done a good job there.
And have you seen, that positive relationship already forming between Coach Yepes and the players? Magali, how has he impacted you guys already?
I would say the most noticeable thing is in the morning, everybody just says buenos dias. Like in the morning, it's just it's simple, but it puts a smile on everybody's face, and everybody's happy to see him coming in and for practice. For me, yeah, every exercise that we do now, it's very specific to a certain point that at the end would come all together. So I think the way that he structures his exercises and the progression is very, very well done for sure.
And Coach, with us just being about a week away from games starting now, obviously everything's ramping up. When you assess where your team is right now, how do you feel heading into the season? Has preseason been a good level for you guys?
Yeah, preseason's been great. You always feel like there's not enough time. And we've been, I think, intelligent about how we've done it in terms of we're not running them twice a day outside in the middle of the day. But we kind of gave up some practice time to protect ourselves. So I feel terrified. You always you never feel ready till you're out there. But at the same time, we know the things we've worked on we're going to be good at, or we think we're going to be good at. And then we're going to continue to work on things and grow our game. So yeah, we feel really good. And tonight will be our first, play tonight at 7. So tonight will be the first test to really see how well we've been doing. And we'll get to sit there and watch the film and really get a chance to reevaluate, which would be great. Because that is the moment for us. It's like, okay, we think we've done well. Have we? And it's a test. So it's exciting to be able to see the results.
And Magali, you scored 3 goals and had 4 assists last season, including 2 of them being game-winning goals. Do you set yourself targets before the season? Do you have particular aims that you as an individual want to try and achieve this season?
I always try to be better than I was before. So I don't necessarily have numbers or stats that I'm trying to reach. I'm just trying to be better than I was. So whether it's getting more assists or getting more goals or just being more of a present defensively.
More goals.
Okay.
More goals.
Then I guess more goals it is. But yeah, I'm of course I love to score and I love the assists, but I'm not about the numbers. I'm really there to make my team win. So I'm just trying to be a better player than I was the season before.
And lastly with you, Magali, take us inside a little bit of the team culture here. If you had to have a dinner party hosted by one of your teammates, who is the best chef on the team whose food you would want to go and eat? And equally, who's the worst, who you wouldn't want to cook for you under any circumstances?
It's probably easy on the back end.
On the back end? Oh, the best cook. Can we include if the parents are around?
For sure.
say Anne-Marie Sneed, because her parents, like, she would come around and say, oh yeah, just eat gumbo and stuff. It's just, the Southern food. So, and I mean, Anne-Marie is like the most welcoming person ever. So I think it would be an amazing, like, party to just have, like, if she's like that, you would assume her family is the same way, right? So just very welcoming and feel like a big family. And the worst, I would be terrified of eating, whose food?
Any of the freshmen or the sophomores?
Yeah, I'm thinking about which sophomore right now. But I would have said Dawn the first time, but I heard that she's pretty good. So
Salma.
Yeah, maybe Salma. But yeah, I don't know enough to say who's the worst, but I would say in the sophomore class, somewhere in there for sure.
All right, great. Well, sophomores, you've heard it. Magali says you got to step up and you got to do what your seniors say, right? Coach, just lastly, I wanted to give you a moment to draw attention to your 100 hundreds campaign, which was another thing that I saw on the McNeese website with you fundraising for the program. Do you want to talk us through where that came from and what your aims are and where you are with that campaign?
Sure. We had a booster years and years ago. So this is my second run at McNeese. I was here assistant coach a long time ago, who talked about wanting to do a thousands campaign, which seemed a little too ambitious. And it just always stuck with me of what a catchy way to do it. So when I came back to McNeese, we kind of brought the idea. I had it in my head for years. And so we decided we were going to do the 100 hundreds and give it a go. And so that first year, we just got over the mark. And since then, it's taken on a life of its own. We've got matching donors coming in. And so it's an amazing thing. We're already this year at almost 15,000. I think our goal is 10. So we still have a matching donor coming here soon. So it's been incredible to see the level of support. And the goal is always the $10,000, sure, but can we get 100 donors? Can we get that many donors interested and invested in our program? And so that number continues to explode, which has been fantastic. So we start to see that, not just the support financially, but also with people coming to games and then reaching out and following us on social media. So it's expanded our reach quite a bit.
That's awesome. Well, fingers crossed for that. Best of luck to both of you.
You can donate at go.rallyup.com/cowgirls. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say it.
No, that's why we teed it up. I'm glad you're able to do that. But yeah, to both of you, thank you so much for taking the time. Magali, great to meet you. Great to have a chat with you. And Coach, always good to see you. And best of luck this season.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And joining me now are two very special guests from the campus of Texas A&M-Corpus Christi, down there in Corpus Christi, Texas. Head Coach Craig Shaw and Emma Crump. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, mate.
I'm doing good as well.
Good. Well, excited to get a chance to chat to you both. It's another exciting season of Southland soccer ready to get going. And Coach Shaw, you're no stranger to this. You've been with Corpus Christi for over 6 years now. How have you seen the Southland Conference evolve during that period? And as you look towards the season coming up, what's the biggest challenge for you guys in terms of winning games within the Southland Conference?
The conference has just got better and better. So every game we play, anybody can win, and that's exciting for the conference. It's great battles in every game. They've brought in a lot of good coaches, so the league across the board, from top to bottom, is a million times better than it was 6 years ago when I arrived.
Awesome. And when you're getting ready for this season and you're bringing in your newcomers, we have 12 newcomers on the roster this year, I saw. What do you look for in a player who's going to be part of Texas A&M Corpus Christi soccer?
We're looking for a little bit different things. We look highly on the technical ability of every player. We like to play possession-style soccer. We like to build out from the back. So we need to have that technical ability. Then after that is a blue-collar mentality. Work hard. Doesn't matter how talented you are as a player. If you don't work hard, you're going to lose games. So we're going to make sure those two things. And then after that, everything else tactically, and we can bring that as coaches.
And Emma, great to get to chat to you. As Coach has already outlined, there's a very clear mentality and a play style that's very clear for you guys in the preseason. How has that preseason been, and how do you feel heading into this season, knowing exactly what Coach wants from you?
Preseason's been great. Everyone's been bringing their mentality. Just what Coach was saying is that work hard mentality is what we need in this team, especially with 12 newcomers, like y'all were saying. We have to get that chemistry within us, and we've been bringing that really hard in preseason, and I think that'll help us a lot in the season.
And speaking of those newcomers, obviously bedding them into to a new team is a challenge every year, right? With the nature of college soccer, people come and people go. So how has that process been for you as a a leader within this team, someone who's been here for a while and is experienced? How do you go about making sure that those newcomers bed in as quickly as they possibly can?
I think it's just learning about each and every one of them. Obviously, you have to know your team and your teammates who you play with. Those people you spend the most time with every day on the field and off the field. And really just knowing each and every one of them as a player and as a person has helped really just help embed them into our team.
The returners have been key. The newcomers have come in, they've stepped up, they've come in all super fit, they've come in hungry, and the returners have done a great job of just what is the Islander way? What's the way we like to play? What is the way we like to do things at practice? How do we act off the field? How do we prepare for practices? How do we prepare for games? How do we take care of our body? All those things, the returners have done an amazing job, and it's been so fluid with the incoming players with the returners because of the returners.
Brilliant. It's great to hear. And Coach, the non-conference schedule that you guys have built is, I think it's fair to say, somewhat of a gauntlet with the caliber of opposition that you've put on there. You're playing 4 different teams who were in the NCAA tournament last year, away from home basically for a month straight, a heavy road schedule. I guess, trip to Florida for Florida Gulf Coast and FAU, the list goes on. What was the reason behind that, if there was one? And how do you think that will best prepare you for the rest of the season?
It was just the way it worked out. We had to cancel a bunch of non-conference games last year with the conference realignment changes. So it worked out when I wanted to put these guys back onto the schedule, they had to start with away games first. So everything's going to start getting back to normal, equal kind of 5 away, 5 home next year. But this year, we're away for a month. We are traveling all over the US, and it's going to build some character for us for when we come home. We're going to be so excited to play at home.
And Emma, that experience that you're going to get to travel across the country and play games against top level opposition, how exciting is that for you as part of this team and for the team on the whole in terms of preparing yourself to try and build towards your ultimate goal of winning a conference championship?
I think it's amazing. I really think playing these hard teams is going to show us who we are. And just traveling, we have a lot of traveling away games just in conference as well. So getting used to this traveling schedule and knowing that we're not going to be at home all the time, even though we love the sport of our fans and being at home, it's not going to always be that easy. And we're going to have to be on the road. So just getting these away games in Florida and against Texas is just really beneficial for our team, and as well as the newcomers, because obviously the returners, we know how to travel, we know this routine, but the newcomers don't really, and so this will get them an insight on that.
Well, we're really excited to see you doing some traveling and see these games against the big opposition, and can't wait to watch you guys play. But speaking of being, on the flip side, being at home, obviously you're hosting the conference tournament when it comes to November at the business end of the season. So for Emma, that must be a real exciting idea. And how does that help you guys potentially try and achieve the aim of winning the whole thing?
Just having everyone there and just being at home. We've played here plenty of times. This is our home turf, and being here, we have our advantages, just knowing how it works here in Corpus Christi. Obviously, the wind is one of our biggest strengths here because we use that to our advantage. A lot of teams don't really get that coastal breeze that we do, and so we really use that. And then just having all of our fans here and just being surrounded by people is just really a big thing for our team.
And Coach, I guess the same for you really in terms of hosting that conference tournament. It's a responsibility, but it's also a big opportunity for you to showcase not just the program but the institution on the whole. What does that mean to you as the head coach of this team?
I mean, just especially after how well we've hosted other events, having beach volleyball here and then winning it, tennis recently hosting and winning it. We know we can host an amazing event without glitches, first class facilities here with our facility and locker rooms and restaurants and hotels. And then you turn around and we have the support. We've seen the support that tennis got. We saw the support beach volleyball got from other student athletes, from staff, faculty, and then the city really took on those events. And now we get the opportunity to do it ourselves.
Well, we're excited to get down there and see it and see you guys hosting it later on this season. But Coach, I just wanted to touch one more thing on a couple of your players and really on your strike partnership, the front line that you've got between Megan Guy and Morgan Westbury. 16 goals between them last season. There have been a lot of great, strike partnerships in world football history, right? But what makes them so special as a tandem, and why are they so successful with each other on the field?
Yeah, it's not just them being successful with each other. They're actually successful within the whole unit. We've got 5 forwards that rotate in there. So obviously they are both very good players who've scored a lot of goals. But when we talk about our strike force, we don't just talk about 2 individuals or 1 individual. Everybody chips in with goals. Everybody causes problems for the offense. I think if you compare the 5 fastest players in the conference, it might be our 5 forwards. We've got great speed up top. They will all work well together. So we'll see those 2 in tandem, but we'll see other people in tandem as well. So I'm very excited about our forward line across the board.
And Emma, just lastly, in terms of your expectations for the season, how do you see this team developing over time? You've got these newcomers in, and you've got a lot of experience and talent as well. Where do you see this season going for the Islanders?
I see it going up, just straight up. With our newcomers, they have brought the energy, the fire, the passion that we already wanted on our team, and just them being at the same level as us and not having to catch up. I think it just creates a whole new environment. And having our team up there, just wanting to win, wanting to score, wanting to just lay it all out on the field is what we needed to just finish. We want to finish first. That's our goal. I hope that's everyone's goal in conference, but we're here to fight for it, and that's what our team is bringing.
And just lastly, I want to give our fans a chance to get to know a little bit more behind the scenes about your roster, about your teammates. So we've kind of been asking everyone a bit more of a fun question to let you get to know your teammates a little bit better. So in the squad that you have, if there's one person who's going to be bang on time for a meeting, who's that going to be? And if there's one person who's going to stroll in 5 minutes late, not understanding that they were supposed to be there 5 minutes ago, who's that going to be as well?
You go.
One person that I think is always on time is probably, I don't even know, who's always
I can tell you who's late, Coach Hunter.
Yes. Coach Hunter will come in 5 minutes late, strolling in with a smile on his face.
He's got 2 little kids, so he gets away with it.
Yes. On time, I think we're all pretty on time for the most part. The one person I know is always going to be there first, I think, would have to be, I don't even know. Caitlin, I would say, has been first to a lot of things because she's newer, and so she wants to get there early just to make sure she knows where she's going. So I think she's first to a lot of our stuff lately.
We have a big policy here if on time's late. So, and any minute you're late, there is a punishment for being late for stuff. So we don't have too many latecomers as players.
Well, we're going to make sure we implement that for fans tuning into your games on ESPN Plus this season as well, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Of course. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the time. Coach Shaw, Emma, it's been great to get to chat with you. We'll wish you nothing but the best of luck for this season, especially that long road trip across the country as you take on some of the best teams in the nation. We'll be watching, we'll be supporting, and we'll wish you all the best of luck.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
And we now welcome in 2 very special guests from Northwestern State University in Natchitoches, Louisiana. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's a very difficult word for me to say. Head coach Ian Brophy and senior Mia Dupuis. Both of you, thank you so much for being here. How is everything going today?
Hi, Callum. Yeah, thanks for having us. And yeah, things are going well. We just got back from our first preseason scrimmage last night. So it was a little slow going this morning, but good to get going. Yep.
Awesome. And Coach, obviously you mentioned that scrimmage, but before we dive into anything else, what did you learn from your first scrimmage? How did the team look in action?
Yeah, it was really positive. Certainly learned a lot about the players that we have and the depth that we have this year, and a lot about the new players. With 15 new players, I think it was good to learn about those players in a real game setting outside of practice. And yeah, it was a great night for us. So I really enjoyed that.
Awesome. And Coach, I should have started, first and foremost, welcome to the Southland. At the end of the day, this is your first year with us here, and a brand new experience for you and for us having you along with us. And you're joining a program that had a successful year last year. They were the highest scoring team in the conference, 37 goals in 17 games, and made it all the way to the conference semifinals. What's your excitement level like ahead of this season as you prepare to embark on your first season of Southland soccer?
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited. And I think a lot of that is down to getting to inherit a program that was set up to win and set up to compete. And I think that was something that really drew me here, and probably one of the big reasons I am here. But really enjoyed once I did get here, getting to know the community and the town, and getting to know the players. And it's been a real joy working with them, and getting to know who they are. And it's been great. So I can't say anything other than how excited we've been, and what that first week has really been like. We've really enjoyed it.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And obviously, most recently, you were at the D2 level with Mount Olive last year, and various other schools before that. We would be remiss to not admit. How has those experiences prepared you for this moment? That you've been in a variety of different places. I'm sure learned a lot in each of those spots. But how have they all kind of grown to form you into the coach you are today and set you up for this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I think every stop along the way has really kind of honed me into the coach that I am. I think being at Florida Southern for as long as I was, for 6 years, as an assistant there under head coach Paul Lawrence, really helped develop, who I am as a coach and what my philosophies were and what I wanted out of my program and the things I wanted to do, kind of things I learned and things I wanted to change and things I wanted to do myself. And I really enjoyed kind of when I got to Mount Olive and getting to learn myself and be a head coach. And I thought that was a really positive experience and something that set me up really well for coming in here, knowing exactly what I wanted to do in terms of the approach, the culture that we wanted to set, the way we wanted to play, and the things that we wanted to accomplish in this conference. I think a lot of that was honed by that year at Mount. It really helped me develop all those ideas to a really crystal clear vision, which I think has benefited us greatly in this first couple months here.
And Mia, we'll bring you in here to talk about coach. Obviously, adjusting to a new coach can be difficult. Many people watching or living in this moment will have been through that. What has it been like getting to know your new head coach, and how has he settled in with the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been great. Not everybody's lucky enough to have a coach that they can interact with, that they can go to and express their concerns, ideas, and they actually listen to you. So it's been a really good experience so far.
That's awesome. Coach talked about getting settled and bringing his ideas to the team. How have you felt in terms of the implementation of new ideas so far? Has it been smooth? Have there been big changes or just little tweaks on what you guys have been doing previously?
I'd say more little tweaks than anything. Every coach has a different playing style, and every team is going to have to adjust to each other. So I think as a whole, though, we kind of play similar, so that helps.
And obviously you yourself have transferred into Northwestern State following a couple of other stops, including Louisiana Tech and LSU Alexandria. So you've been through the process of settling in Natchitoches. And so first things first, how did you find it arriving at Northwestern State and settling in? And have you been able to give Coach Brophy any tips on where to go, where to eat, and how to enjoy life there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm only 2 hours away from home, so I kind of knew Natchitoches beforehand. Natchitoches is just a fun little town, small, homey, a lot of stuff you can do on the river, really good food.
Yeah, that's probably been her biggest recommendation to me, has been all the food.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Mia, whenever I make it to Natchitoches, I need you to tell me where I'm going for dinner as well, because I've got to try some of this 100%. Coach, you mentioned, obviously 15 newcomers, 11 returners, not to mention replacing Gracie Armstrong, who was our Southland Player of the Year last year, lead goal scorer, Ligia Dragicevic. There's been a lot of turnover with this program, understandably so. How do you go about remolding a squad from that? 15 returners and 15 newcomers and 11 returners. That's a very difficult balance to strike. So what has that challenge been like for you?
Yeah, it's been a lot of focus on team bonding and culture and doing the right things. It's also with bringing in some of the new ideas of making sure that we approach everything from an approach of this being a brand new chapter, of this being something that we can move forward from, not getting too hung up on things we've done in the past or things that our traditions here or who we've had here in the past. It's really about knowing that we're turning over a new leaf, and we've got a brand new team this year with basically more new players than returners. So that's been a really big transition, but something I think we're benefiting from in terms of really how we're coming together and developing our own style of play and our own way of doing things, and I think that's been really beneficial.
So it sounds like, it's a very, melting pot of youth and experience.
Yeah.
But equally, on that more youthful side, on the newcomers side, have you seen any people that you are already expecting to, be big impacts this year? Is that something that we can expect to see, a very youthful starting lineup for you guys?
Yeah, and even in the youthful side of things, I think some of might not be as young but some of those newcomers will certainly make some big impacts. We had a lot of transfers come in, which I think has helped develop helped us be able to keep some experience in the lineup, even though with some of the new players stepping in, we're still having to gel and get used to each other. But I think having we'll have some players that'll step in with some college-ready experience, like Alina Graff, who was a starting center back, and team captain at her old school at St. Francis College in Brooklyn. So I think we're really excited to have her experience join the team. And I think some players like that, we've got a couple Louisiana Tech transfers that I think will bring some very good playing experience right into the lineup. So I think we've got some fun players, and some youthful players that'll be really good. We've had some freshmen hit the ground running, and whether it's, we've had a Dawson Mars, who's a freshman who's really come in and hit the ground running early on. So I think it's been good to have that collection of things getting started, and our new assistant coach as well, I think has been a huge help as well. And Jessica Nye, she's been really helpful in setting the culture and some of the things that we've wanted to accomplish here and organizing things, and she's been unbelievable. So yeah, we've had, I think, a really good start to things, and I think developing our starting lineup together and the players that we've had, I think the youth will come through in the lineup, through the year. I think our depth will come through as well.
That's great to hear. Mia, you're one of just 2 seniors on this roster. That's simultaneously very rare, but also a significant responsibility in the leadership role that you're likely to take on, right? So what have you told the newcomers and the younger players in order to prepare them for soccer in the Southland, but equally being part of the Northwestern State family?
I kind of tell girls, no matter what, wherever they're at, the biggest thing is forget your mistakes, learn from them. But we say this thing, be a goldfish. Goldfish don't remember nothing. Yeah, and just be confident. You've played soccer your whole life. You know how to do it. Southland's no different than any other conference at the end of the day. We've all played before. We've all played against each other before, so.
And Mia, coach has talked about setting a new culture within this team and within this program. Obviously, as a new head coach, that's part of the process. What has that culture been to you guys so far, and how do you see that positively affecting you moving forward?
Yeah, I think the culture is a lot more regimented, but not in a controlling way. I think it's a lot more accountability we have to hold for ourselves. We have these core values, and one of them actually is accountability and family, leadership, competitiveness. So everything we do is to help one another, always hear each other cheering on the sidelines, just really positive, loving, caring environment.
Awesome. And then let's go inside that caring environment for just 1 second and get to know your teammates a little bit better. So in terms of, game day fits, who's the best dressed on the team? Who's the best dressed showing up? And equally, who thinks they're well dressed but maybe isn't so well dressed?
Haley Griffin can have the best style in the world when she wants to. But yesterday she showed up to the cafeteria and we said, Haley, you look like a tree. Because she had a green jacket on and brown pants. And so she's both. She is the worst dressed and the best dressed.
That is awesome. I was not expecting them to be one and the same person, but that's great to hear. And I'll hope that everything is smooth once she sees this clip go live on YouTube. Anyway, wonderful. Guys, thank you both so much for being here. We're so excited to coach, welcome you to the Southland and have you be part of this conference. And can't wait to see what your team does on the pitch this year. Best of luck.
Thank you so much, Callum. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Joining us now, live from Houston, Texas, are two very special guests on the campus of HCU, the Huskies, head coach Chris Dodd and Lauren Avila. Thank you both for being here. Thank you for taking the time to chat to us. How are you doing today?
Doing really good. Just finished up a morning session and kind of getting the last minute preparations before we take off on our first road trip.
Yes. Oh, don't worry. Sorry, Lauren. I was going to say, don't worry, we're going to talk about that road trip. But yes, Lauren, how are you doing?
Good. We actually have practice this evening, but it's going to be more of a laid back practice. So kind of just trying to recover from the rest of the past week.
I don't know how laid back an evening practice in the Texas heat will be, but I hear you and I'm glad to hear it won't be a full out practice.
Yeah, it's been brutal at 5 p.m. in Houston for sure, but it's manageable.
That's the South, right? Yeah. You're braver than I am anyway. Coach, you've been with this institution in a variety of roles, both as a player and, as an assistant and now as a head coach for a long time now. Must feel like home, I'm sure. How have you seen the soccer program, specifically the women's program, kind of grow, especially under your leadership in the past few years?
Yeah, it's been a great experience to see, both from being a student and having friends on the women's team to then coming back as an assistant coach and having a role in growing the program. I think it's grown in a few ways. Specifically, each year building off the previous year's successes obviously helps with the recruiting. That with the quality of the conference growing over the years as well. So it's been it's been a journey, and we're really happy to continue to grow it.
And, continuing on that journey from last year, where there was a very narrow defeat in the semifinals to Lamar, the eventual champions, how do you use that as motivation and even, I guess, a knowledge basis to know what levels you have to reach in order to achieve the ultimate goal of winning the Southland Conference this season?
Yeah, games like that or those close margins of loss always hurt a little bit more. And, one of the great things about this year is we really had a small graduating class from last fall. And so, those wounds are still there and the players still think about that. And we're an old roster all of a sudden. We have 3 fifth-year seniors and another 6 kind of true seniors behind them. And so a lot of experience built up over the years and players that are ready and hungry to kind of take that next step and kind of secure a championship, hopefully.
And Lauren, as Coach said, very experienced roster, and you're a huge part of that. You've played in 57 games across 4 seasons. That's a remarkable number by anyone's standards, especially with the heat in the South and the taxation on the body that comes with that. Obviously, these wounds from last season are still fresh. How do you use that as motivation, and how are the senior leadership within the class, motivated to go one step further this season?
Yeah, honestly, like he's mentioned, the wins are still on our mind. Like during the summer, anytime we were running fitness or anything, people would just say, like, remember that game, like it's ring season, we're ready. There is a lot of seniors, 3 fifth years, and it's just like, it's time. Like it's either now or never, and we're just super excited to see like our first game in Hawaii, see how it goes, go from there.
And yes, I was getting to Hawaii, and my first question, first and foremost, is: do you guys need some conference representatives to come with you? Because we're available.
Please, honestly, you can come in my suitcase if you need.
You're going to need support staff ready for that trip.
Yeah, I thought you might have a few volunteers. Yeah, Lauren, you'd need a significantly bigger suitcase than what you have for me, unfortunately. But first and foremost, how does that come about? Sounds incredible. Must be that, an amazing experience for the players, Coach. But has this been, long time in the planning?
A couple of years for sure. So we were actually lucky enough to make essentially the same exact trip in 2017. And so I had that previous relationship with Bud, the head coach there over at Hawaii, and scheduled it in a way where we could travel out to have our preseason scrimmage against Hawaii. And then they bring 2 teams in for kind of their opening weekend. And so we're the third opponent in that little round robin, and gives us an opportunity to be down there for 9 days, extend our preseason out essentially, and then obviously use it as an opportunity to grow as a team and individuals and have a little fun while taking care of business as well.
Yeah, I mean, playing against Gonzaga and Utah Valley, that's, top level competition. And that's before we even, come back to the mainland for your, effectively, I would term it a tour of Texas with SMU, with Houston, with UTRGV, playing, the top level talent within this state. How do you feel like that tough non-conference schedule will help prepare your team for the Southland season?
Yeah, looking at our season last year, obviously we had a few games, specifically that semifinal against Lamar, where we had to be tough defensively and fight for 90 minutes and really try and find ways to be successful against a high quality opponent that puts us under a lot of pressure. And so, my thoughts with these first 3 games is, can we be defensively secure? Can we learn some of those lessons getting exposed against, high quality opponents and hopefully grow from those moments, so when we look later in the season, we have that experience under our belt and have hopefully seen everything that we're going to see, and it's all second nature from there.
Lauren, that trip sounds like an incredible time for a student athlete regardless. I'm assuming the mood in the camp is very excited, but how do you make sure that you balance, enjoying the elements of it, but equally making sure you take care of business in such amazing surroundings?
Definitely. That's a big thing to deal with. He has this scheduled perfectly, though. There's a lot of off time and then there's a lot of game time. And it's like you just need to be able to differentiate the two and just be ready. Like when we're at practice, just think about soccer. And then when there's free time, like have fun, and that's okay. But definitely have to remember that we are there for soccer. But I think it's going to be a really fun trip and I'm so excited.
We're very jealous. Coach obviously alluded to the fact that you have a lot of returners, a lot of experience, but obviously there are still some newcomers within that group. So Lauren, as a leader, as someone who's been around the program for a while now, how do you go about bringing those newcomers in and kind of helping, reestablish within them the culture of the team that's already been set?
So actually, we come in during the summer. We were actually here the first week of June. I mean, no, not June, July. And I think it's super helpful because we're here early with the freshmen. We get to build those relationships, set the foundation early when the coaches aren't there. So then when the coaches get there, we're already like where we need to be. And then we can go into preseason just at the top. So honestly, I think that's the most helpful. But I try to, at least when we get to campus, like build those relationships, go talk to the freshmen immediately, get to know them, just make them feel comfortable and know like we're excited to have them as part of our team.
And Coach, from your perspective, that embedding process, the nature of college soccer is that it's a new team every year, right? No matter how many returners you have, there's always a new element to it. So what are you feeling and what do you think of this current crop that you have so far with that mixture of newcomers and experience?
It's been really exciting, like first week of practice. I mean, like Lauren said, because they've been here working hard for the last 4 weeks, we start at a great starting point where we can come in and just kind of build as a coaching staff and take what they've worked on and just kind of polish it up as we go into games. With the incoming freshmen, because we have such great upperclassmen leadership, the expectations on them can be lower initially, and so they can kind of find their way in and find a role that fits them. And as the season goes on, obviously those expectations will grow. But, I think keeping it minimal to begin and allow them to get comfortable and find their spots, always helpful for us.
And I guess lastly, when you're out recruiting and, talking to these new talents who may be joining you, or for our fans who maybe haven't seen HCU play soccer enough as yet, what would you tell them about how you guys play Husky soccer? Like, what is the style? What does it mean to be part of the HCU soccer team?
Yeah, it's something that we've been really trying to refine over the last couple of years, especially since I took over as head coach. But I think kind of the tenets of our style of play is, we want to be aggressive. We want to be high pressure with our defensive work rate. We want to keep the ball when it's appropriate to possess and look to find, switches from side to side so that we can disorganize the defense, but also play quickly and play forward when we can. And so hopefully just be diverse with our style of play and play what's appropriate for the opponent and for the time in the match.
And Coach, I'd be remiss, I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but without mentioning, giving you a chance to, I guess, blow your own horn a little bit here. You had some experience playing across professionally in Europe, in Finland with FC Korsholm a number of years ago, but sounds like a pretty incredible experience. What was that like, and how, if anything, does that inform, I guess, your coaching style today?
I mean, it was an incredible experience. Obviously, everybody dreams of getting that opportunity to pursue soccer at a professional level and kind of extend beyond the college careers. And so, I look at that time fondly and learned a lot, not only from being in a different culture, being around different people, but also just seeing how different operations are done, whether that was training with Dynamo, being at FC Korsholm and seeing how they run a training session, see what their physicality looks like, their tactics, and coaching is just kind of stealing ideas from everyone else and making your own. And so the more ideas that you have access to, hopefully the better end product you can put together for yourself.
And Lauren, we'll finish trying, take us inside the locker room a little bit, let us know a little bit more about the players around you and what you do on a game day. So who is the DJ? Who's the one who's picking the music before game day to get the team hyped? And on the flip side, who is the last person that you would pass the aux cord to?
Oh, those are some good questions. So usually the person on aux is Juliana. We call her Jewel. She's great on it. She is definitely the life of the party, I would say. And let me think, who would be the last? I'm going to have to go with Emily. She tends to play music that's not the vibe, honestly. Like, we'll be trying to warm up, get hyped for a game, and she's playing a slow song, and you're just like, really? We're always screaming at her to skip the song, but we still love her. It's all right.
All right, well, I'm going to check back in partway through the season and see if Emily has got the hint and raised the profile of the music she's playing, and we'll check back in later on. But, guys, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been a pleasure. Great to get to chat with you both, and we'll wish you a safe trip to Hawaii, you lucky, lucky people, and we'll wish you best of luck for the rest of the season as well.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time to have us. It was a lot of fun today.
Thank you.
And joining me now are two very special guests from Hammond, America, the campus of Southeastern Louisiana University, Head Coach Nathan Gillespie and Haley Yoder. Thank you both for being here. Thanks for taking the time to chat to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Coach, you're going into your second season at the helm at Southeastern. How have you settled down in there in Hammond? It's a very long way away from where you're originally from.
Yeah, I mean, so I was the assistant for 3 years prior to being the head coach. So I'm actually going into my 5th year in Hammond. So I was pretty well settled in when I became the head coach. Knew all the girls on the team already. It weren't like I was coming into a completely new program with tons of new recruits. So it was a very easy transition. I think it was easy for the girls as well. But definitely after the spring of last year where I got the job and I'd just had a baby, we've now been through almost a full year. The baby's grown a bit, life's a bit more settled down. And so it's definitely been a little bit easier over the last few months for sure.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And obviously, having had that experience as the assistant, but then going on to being the head coach, that is a change of role and it's a change of responsibilities. And I'm sure it's a change of pressure for yourself as well. How do you view your first year as the head coach overall? And did you learn anything new about Southland Conference soccer in that rookie head coaching year?
Yeah, definitely. It's always important to be making mistakes and we kind of get that message across to the girls, right? Because that's how we do improve and we keep moving forward. Lots of lessons were learned, on style of play, managerial decisions with individuals on the team, with the group, making mistakes and, having to be the one to make the decisions now and, definitely made a few mistakes along the way. But also some good points and good discussions with leaders on the teams and getting more people involved in discussions was definitely a learning curve as well. But yeah, definitely better off for it this year. Sure, there's going to be mistakes made this year as well. Hopefully different ones and things that we can learn from and keep growing from there.
And Haley, you've obviously seen coaches transition from assistant into the head man. How's that process been and how's the preseason been so far?
It's definitely been a learning curve because we always saw Nate as like the goofy, funny, lighthearted assistant coach. And then when he transferred into being head coach, he was, we really had to take him seriously and grow respect for him and stuff. But I feel like we've done a good job changing our view on him and respecting him as a head coach and listening to what he says and following through with that. And preseason has been really good. It's been a lot of hard work. We've been practicing twice a day, but it's been fun and it's been good energy. Yeah. And
I understand that you've been named a captain of the squad this year, which must be a huge honor for you. What does that responsibility mean to you and how do you go about leading this team forward this season?
It's a huge responsibility and it's a huge honor. I love this team with my whole heart, and these are all like my best friends. So just really connecting with the girls and making sure I'm leading them in the right direction, and we're keeping the standards and pushing each other and holding each other accountable.
And Coach, you have a real mixture of, youth and experience in the locker room this year. 9 newcomers I saw in the article on the website, including 5 transfers. When you're looking for players to add to this roster and you're out recruiting, what are some of the key traits that you're looking for in Southeastern Louisiana players?
I think obviously when you're looking at Division 1, they've got to be pretty decent at the sport that they're playing. But a larger part is them as people, right? And we try to do our due diligence and the best we can to look into people and what things are like with them outside of soccer. Because like Yoda said, she said here the team is her best friends and that she wants to lead them in a way that can be best possible. We want to make sure we've got good people around, all right? And I think if you've got good people around, then everything else is possible. If the atmosphere and the crowd are right, then you can work hard, you can challenge each other, you can push each other's boundaries a little bit to make sure that we're trying to achieve them higher heights.
And with those 9 newcomers, obviously embedding them into the team is a huge part of the preseason. How has that process been, and what do you do in terms of incorporating so many new bodies into a roster?
So we're actually in a better position than what it sounds. We had 4 come in the spring. So that then leaves us with 5 coming in the fall, right? So we had 4 that had an entire semester to get to know the team, to grow in the environment. And then, with this semester, one of the girls that's come in is still recovering from an ACL injury. So we've really only had 4 to integrate into the team for this fall. I mean, obviously, the girl that's injured, Piper, we're still integrating her and making sure she's a part of everything. But it's definitely a lot easier than what it would have been with 9. And we just got back from the beach. We went down to Florida for a couple of days in preseason. We had the girls in some big houses. They were in each other's faces and personal spaces nonstop. So if that didn't get them well acquainted, then I don't know what will. But and then obviously we do a lot of meals together. We take it in turns and we cook and we cook for one group will cook for the team each night. So we've done more than enough, and I think that. Obviously there's a couple of more things that we could do, but overall it's been pretty easy to get them integrated into the team. And again, the girls that are already here, the returners, they just help with that. Like Haley said, it's like their best friends, their family. When new people come in, they're coming into the family, and the girls ain't standoffish. They make sure that they're welcoming them with open arms.
And Haley, that beach trip sounds like a lot of fun. How was that experience for you? And I have to ask, because Coach said, what was your meal of choice when you were responsible for the cooking?
What did we do? We did some.
Was it the spring roll bowl?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I was not really a part of it. I just did the shopping and cleaning because I'm not meant for the kitchen. But it was really fun. It was a really good getaway. Just to mentally get away. We were in a new setting, so practices were. It was just good, a good refresh, a good reset. Yeah.
And when you're welcoming newcomers into the team and into the locker room, what do you, as an experienced player with this team, tell the newcomers about what it means to be at Southeastern and what you have to do and be to be part of this team?
Well, we hold ourselves to high standards, and the beginning of preseason, we all get together and we say our standards and make sure everyone knows them and follows them. And it's not only captains holding the other people accountable, but it's everybody holding each other accountable, because there is really no captains versus the team. We're all one. And so just making sure we know those standards and we're holding each other to them, and just reaching out, inviting them. We like to sit at different tables at dinners and stuff to make sure we're incorporating everybody and learning new faces, learning new things about them. And then we just really look out for them, making sure that they're doing okay, because it is really transition, especially since a lot of them are far from home, and keeping an eye on them, making sure that if we do see them struggling, we're taking them out for coffee or making sure they're okay and doing whatever we can to make this as smooth transition as possible.
That's great. That's awesome. Coach, I want to touch just briefly on Maya Guillory, who was the 2022 Southland Conference Soccer Student Athlete of the Year and also an All-Louisiana selection last year. What about her is so special, and what can we expect from her moving forward this season?
I think that, again, talking about standards, I think she puts very high expectations on herself when she's on the field, right? And I think that a lot of top sports performers do that. You see it in the Michael Jordan documentary and how everything was personal to him, and he had to, be the best he could be in every second he was awake or on the field, right, or on the court. I think we can expect a bit more of the same. Maybe some little additions to her game. I will say that preseason has been a lot of hard work for her. So hopefully we can see them adaptations and that growth and see that translate to on the field moving into the season.
And on the pitch specifically, what's it going to take from your team to take another step this season and hopefully go further in the Southland Conference Championship tournament and try and win the whole thing?
Basically, just the mentality that when we're out on the field, we're not doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for our teammates, and everybody's got to be buying into that mentality, and we've got to be working until we can't work no more. And if we need a break, we come out, somebody else goes in, and they're giving their 100% whilst they're in, and I think we're very close to being there, I think, and hopefully there's a little bit more we can do, but if we can get to that level, we're very excited about the season ahead of us.
And lastly, Haley, just if in a way to allow our fans to get to know your team and that locker room a little bit better, if you were going to have to be locked inside a room for 24 hours with one other member of the squad, who would you choose that would allow you to enjoy that time? And if the flip side was, who would you absolutely never choose in a million years, who would that be as well?
I'd have to do Anna Blankenship. She is so fun. Whenever we're together, we're just laughing, like seriously, just pure comedic relief. Oh, it's so funny. Who I not? Oh Lord. I don't want to out anyone.
I'm sorry, I put you on the spot there. You can just say coach if you need to. I understand that.
Probably Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Scott would be complaining the whole entire time. Yeah, definitely Scott. I would not want to be locked in a room with him for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, thank you both so much. This has been brilliant. Really appreciate you guys taking the time. Best of luck for the upcoming season. We'll be watching, and all the best for the rest of preseason.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
And joining me now are two very special guests from the campus of Texas A&M-Commerce in Commerce, Texas. Head Coach Ashley Gordon and Mel Story. Ladies, thank you both so much for taking the time to chat to us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
It's exciting to get to chat to you guys. Another year of Southland soccer about to start. And after your fantastic debut season in the Southland last year, going all the way to the conference final, we have to be excited heading into this season, right, Coach?
Yes, we're very excited. Very excited headed into the season. We've got a lot of new faces, obviously returners. After the transition coming into D1 and into the Southland, it's been a great experience, but at the same time, again, it's a new season and new year for all of us.
What did you learn in that first season within the Southland, that you maybe weren't expecting before the transition, and how can that help inform you as we head into this second year now?
Yeah, well, obviously we had standards and expectations for our own team, but really had no expectation in regards to the Southland. It was all about how we needed to prepare for each game, and how we structured the season last year, or with the schedule. We found competing against opponents that would best prepare us for the Southland. And we felt like we did that, but it's a process from where you start, where you come in, and then, beginning the actual conference play, and then where we ended up.
And so this, you already mentioned your newcomers, your first full recruiting class, basically, that you're bringing in here at Commerce. When you're on the recruiting trail, What have you been telling those young individuals you're trying to recruit, and what are you looking for in those recruits that you're bringing into the program?
Well, certainly, well, first and foremost, we were one of the youngest teams in the Southland Conference. So really going into 23 or into the 23 class really was a matter of evaluating our own team, seeing where we're at, evaluating what our needs would be. And so, once hitting the recruiting trail, really gave us an idea of what positional needs, where we were at. And, I think from the most part, being able to find players that share the same culture or that will be able to share the same core values that we have, but more importantly, coming in and being able to be competitive and impactful within this roster.
And Mel, you're one of just 6 individuals who also played for the program when it was at the D2 level. What was that transition like for you, the step up from the Division 2 to the Division 1 level?
Yeah, it was definitely a big change, but it was one that we're all very excited about. It's nice to play against teams with a lot more talented individuals to challenge ourselves more. So yeah, it's been really exciting.
And you're one of just 3 seniors on the team, so you're definitely in a leadership role, from the more experienced side of things. In that role, as you're welcoming in the newcomers, what are you doing to try and get that team bonding happening straight away? How do you welcome in the newcomers as part of the Commerce team?
Yeah, it's definitely been important to just get to know everyone, really. We've been getting together as much as possible outside of practice, just learning about each other. Everyone's kind of came from, a lot of people actually knew each other before coming here, a lot of the freshmen. So it was nice for them to already have a bond and then just getting to know them and make them feel comfortable.
And I guess aside from the unbearable Texas heat, how has preseason been for you so far? How have you been feeling about the practices and the excitement level heading into this season?
Yeah, it's been really good. It's actually been, the heat's good, get our fitness up a bit better. Yeah, it's really exciting. We've got a really strong squad, a lot of new players, bringing in new talent. So, yeah.
And obviously, having come from that Division 2 level to the Division 1 level, and you also had a change in coaching staff. So obviously, I'm going to just ask you briefly about the lady sat to your right there in terms of the transition from old coaching staff to new coaching staff and fresh ideas. Yeah. What was that like? And do you feel all the more comfortable heading into a second season under Coach Gordon's staff, knowing what's expected of you right now?
Yeah, definitely. We have a good, strong coaching staff now. The transition, it was good that they came in the spring just before our first D1 season in the fall. So we had a little bit of experience with the coaching staff just before we headed in, which I think gave us a bit of an advantage going in. And then now with the season under our belt with the coaching, we've kind of established our playing style a bit. So it's going to be good going into the season.
Well, Coach, I have to go ahead, Coach. Please.
Well, no, I was going to say, obviously, we've got great leadership from our 3 seniors and being able to bring in new players. Some of those are transfers from other conferences. Others are incoming freshmen, right? But with the experiences that, Mel and our other seniors and juniors, rising juniors, that they share, I think once we blend the new players or the newcomers with their experiences, because everybody comes from a different club background. But once we have that blended, I think we're going to be really fun to watch.
We think so too. And I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on what Mel said about the coaching staff. And obviously you've retained your entire staff from last season, and that just helps you guys get set. But in terms of that staff and the style of play that you want to play, what do you tell these new fans or new incoming players about what it means to be part of the A&M-Commerce soccer team and what you're trying to do when you're out there on the pitch?
Well, first and foremost, we are a very high pressing team. We're not a team that's going to sit back. We're going to go for it no matter where we're at on the pitch. I think that if we can set up defensively, then it's going to lend itself to a lot of scoring opportunities. But we do. We have a really fun team to watch. Can't wait to get really started from the season.
And Mel, I have to ask, I'm a little bit biased with this question, but you're obviously a long way from home. So what was the transition like, all those years ago back in terms of coming from the UK over to Commerce? And does it feel like home at this point?
Yeah, definitely. It's at first it was obviously difficult leaving home, but it's been exciting. Nice to put yourself out there, bit of change of scenery.
I know all about that. I totally understand. And I understand that you had, some limitations in spring season due to some injuries, but you're feeling 100% now and ready to go.
Yeah, got cleared just at the end of spring, so fully fit, ready to play.
She's doing great.
Well.
Yeah, Mel's doing great. No, it's fantastic. I think the other thing that I really want to add is, last year, obviously, I don't know that our opponents really knew what to expect, from our program, making that transition from D2 to D1. And, I'd say going into this next year, people know who we are. They're certainly going to know, returners, those personalities. But, more importantly, we're not going to be a surprise anymore. And, so we just have to put our front foot forward, continue to grow, continue to get better. Every time we, step on the field for a practice or an exhibition match, it's an opportunity to get better. And in every training session this preseason, we're just continuing to get better. And so, but, we're super competitive, and the women that get after it in practice and in training certainly get along off the field, but in practice, there's no hard feelings. And certainly if I make a call wrong as the coach or the referee amongst what we're doing, yeah, we get yelled at. They're super competitive.
Well, I look forward to hearing Mel yell at you at some point when you come and check out training. Just lastly on that point that you brought up, the surprise element is gone, right? So when you as a coach are preparing the returners and this new coming class, what do you have to tell them about what they need to do differently or increase in their game and their skill set in order to take that final step and hopefully win a Southland Conference championship like is the aim?
I think, our team is competitive. We have mentality. And I think every time you step on the field and you bring that, it puts us in a position that we're going to have a good chance to win, But the other part of that is obviously, we have to do our due diligence, and we have to stick by the game plan of what we've what we have put forward. But certainly with this team, you never have to question mentality or competitiveness or effort. The women bring it every time they step on the field. And I think, because we train that way, it translates, to the game.
And Mel, just one last one, just to help us get to know a little bit more about the young women of Texas A&M-Commerce. The coach has already said that there's maybe some aggro and some shouting if she makes a wrong call in one of the games. Who's the worst loser within the squad? The one person who, if they're on the losing side, they're just going to lose their mind and not be happy for the rest of the day.
I mean, I don't like losing. Definitely not. It does put me in a mood, but I would say Haley's very competitive. Haley does not like to lose. You don't want to be on her bad side.
Well,
no one likes to lose. No one likes to lose in practice, for sure. So
well, the super competitive Commerce Lions will make sure we don't get on your bad side throughout this year, 100%. Guys, thank you so much both for taking the time to chat to us. We really appreciate you setting aside some minutes for us during a busy preseason schedule. And we're really looking forward to seeing you guys take the pitch again very soon.
Oh, we're excited. Thank you.
And we're now welcoming in two very special guests from the campus of Lamar University, Head Coach Nathan Kogut and Senior Goalkeeper Nicholls. Thank you both very much for being here. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having us. We're good. We just got off the training pitch, and we're excited to be here.
Yeah,
nice translation into pitch for me. I appreciate that straight away. That's great.
Very
Sorry,
welcome.
Nicole.
Oh, just saying, I was doing great. I had a hard practice, but doing really good.
Well, I'm excited to get to chat to you guys. Obviously, last season, hugely successful for you at Lamar. You're the defending SLC champions. You had the best defensive record in the league, 9 shutouts. Nicole just conceded 8 goals in 16 conference games. And I'm sure the aim is to try and repeat that this year. But Coach, winning the conference championship in your first season at the helm, has to be a great feeling. How do you go about replicating that success this year in 2023?
For us, it started in January when we got here. This group hasn't done anything yet. We came back in January and realized that we only lost a handful of kids off of last year's group, but this particular team hasn't done that. Like we haven't earned the right to defend anything or repeat yet. We have to earn it. And so that's been our message since January. And we've brought in a really good group of newcomers. And that's what we've preached is, what happened last year was last year. And we have to earn the ability to repeat.
And you've built a very difficult non-conference schedule with some tough tests for you guys to prepare for the Southland season, including South Alabama, Xavier, Louisiana Lafayette. What went into kind of the formulation of that list of opponents, and how do you think that will prepare you for Southland Conference opposition?
Part of it was luck. Last year we had Louisiana Lafayette at home, and we got South Alabama, and so this was the return of the home and home. But we had the ability to back out if we wanted to, and what we realized was we need to test ourselves. We got to play South Alabama last fall, the Thursday before our conference opener, and I believe that type of matchup tested us and showed the group what we were capable of going into opening conference play in 22. And we knew that we needed a better balance of games in our schedule, and being able to play teams that are going to make deep tournament runs and be picked to finish top of the league was only going to make us better. And a team like Xavier, we know that what they were looking for in their schedule, we fit. And when you perform well, good teams want to play you, and we kind of want to test ourselves. So we were very lucky in the schedule we created, and it's a testament to what this group has already done and what they have the ability to accomplish that we were able to create a schedule like this.
And you said yourself, you haven't lost a whole lot. A lot of your returners come back, but obviously one notable loss has been Christi Kataru, who has obviously moved on and graduated. She was the tournament MVP last year. How do you go about replacing her goal output, which was so integral to your successes last year?
I don't think we're doing it with one person. I think that we've been able to recruit and have a variety of different ways. We have Rafiatu Hal Hassan, who was a JUCO All-American, came in January, has performed really well. Kwani Sauza was a NAIA All-American for William Carey. She's come in. She has the ability to do that. We still have Cariel Ellis, who should be able to pick up some of that slack. And I also think that we return a healthy Isela Ramirez, who after the first week of September, she wasn't healthy last year. And then we return someone like Holly Massey that only got a couple games in, that has some international experience. And I don't believe it's going to be one person replacing everything that Christine provided, but I think we have pieces in place, both that I've already played at the college level and some freshmen that can step in and can help us get some goals.
Well, you beat me to the punch with my next question about Cariel Ellis, who had such a stellar 2022 campaign, 10 goals, 6 assists, 4 game-winning goals. What is it about her that makes her able to perform so well in the biggest moments?
I don't know if anything really bothers her. I don't think that she feels super nervous. I don't know if she feels pressure at all. I think her heart rate just stays at 60 all the time. And so when she gets in front of goal, she's dangerous. And I think that she and Christine had a really good partnership, especially the back half of the year. They both had 6 assists because they were able to play with each other. And so a big piece of our preseason is keeping her in a good rhythm and also finding which one's going to be her strike partner, but also understanding that we can play a few different ways off of her. She gets in front of goal and she's dangerous, and she's also a really selfless person in the fact that she's going to take a lot of attention away from her teammates to be able to do what they do really well. And I think that that's a piece that she's kind of grown into as she's gotten older. I think she's a double-digit goal person, but she's going to create a lot of attention for herself, which means that other people fly under the radar and can be successful off of what she does.
And Nicole, you have to practice against Cariel every day, so we'll wish you good luck with that. But first and foremost, you're one of many international students at Lamar, originally from the Netherlands. How has your transition to Beaumont, Texas been?
Has been great. I really enjoyed my time over here. This is my 4th year here now, and yeah, it's been a great time.
And take us a little bit behind the scenes. Coach Smiley friendly here when he's doing his interviews, but what is preseason actually really like with coach on the training pitch?
It's not bad at all. We have a good like rhythm going on, like 2 a days, 1 a days, and then on the field, like we have to work hard, of course. And if we like are sloppy sometimes, like he will let us know, but always in a positive way.
And you've already done so much in your career at Lamar, breaking records for career wins, career shutouts. You had 15 wins and 12 clean sheets last year and over 200 saves across the last 2 seasons. What is it about this environment that has allowed you as an individual to be so successful within such a successful team?
I think I'm able to be myself around around my teammates and able to like count on them as well if I do make a mistake or something else happen, like to having their trust in me that I can do what I'm good in.
I'll lastly touch with you, Nicole, and just firstly, congratulations on being named to the United Soccer Coaches Goalkeepers to Watch list. That's a huge honor across Division One. What does that mean to you, and how much confidence and excitement does that give you as you head into this season?
Of course, like it's a big announcement, but it's about the previous years, like the stats. So it doesn't matter. Like I still need to show this year what I can do. So we're going to work hard and get the same results as last year.
And Coach Nicole wasn't the only person to be recognized already within your squad, with Arely Alanese yesterday named to the United Soccer Coaches Defenders to Watch list. What makes her such a special talent?
I think it's her perspective. You know, Arely had a torn ACL a couple years ago, and I think we spent a lot of the beginning of last year working on her confidence. And you know, she did not come out and start right away. She had to earn that. But every time she steps on the field, there's just a little bit more swagger to what she does. She's found her voice, and it's been really, really neat because now she is a captain. To see the growth of who she was when I took over in April of 2022 to what she looks like now in August of 23. She's completely changed her mindset. And I do think that having that injury and having to come back the way that she's come back has changed a lot. And she's got a confidence about her that she did not have when we started. And it's just the work that she's put in. She's prepared, and you know what she's done, she's earned the recognition.
And obviously on the woman sat to the side of you as well, with her and Arely gaining these individual awards, what does it say about them as individuals, but equally, what does it say about this program that you're building at Lamar?
As coaches, we are nothing without our players. They make us look good. Nicole saved us so many times when we were getting our feet wet last year. Arely, once she hit her stride, she made us look really, really good. And it's what we've really focused on as we've kind of put our stamp on the program is we want iron to sharpen iron. And so we want the best strikers going against Nicole every day, and we want the best goalkeeper in the country going against our strikers. And I think that it's not a direct correlation that you've asked me about Carol and you've asked me about Nicole and you've asked me about Arely and, you know, what type of midfield do we have and what type of forwards do we have? It's because those two go against each other all the time. And our program, we want this to be a development program. We want to bring in kids that want to be better human beings, but also have that end goal of playing professionally, and they go at each other. And I think that it's just a testament to what the staff and the team has created, that this is a program that you can come in, you can win some championships, get a good degree, and you can play somewhere, you know, and we can play in big games and NCAA tournament games. And, you know, that's something that not a lot of schools in our area can say, and it goes a long way with where we've gone.
And talking about, you know, putting a stamp on the program and building this program, obviously, like we touched on at the beginning, you're still relatively new in this seat. Is there a particular style or play style that you're attempting to implement with the team? And has there been a difference in the work you've been able to do in your second preseason as opposed to the first?
We're not learning about each other like we were this time last preseason. And last preseason we had some bumps and bruises and how we learned the way that we do things. And it felt at times that the coaching staff we were guests in someone else's house. And we've been able to spend much of the last 8 or 9 months kind of putting our stamp on things. And the big piece that we've noticed is we just don't have any session killers right now. At any point in time, we can roll out. We've got 31 kids. All 31 have the ability to play at a really high level, and it's kept us Our training sessions have been really, really high. Our level's been high. Our first exhibition, we played everybody and the level didn't drop. And so that's been really, really nice. We've been able to build off of that. And then I think the players have recognized that both returners and newcomers, that we're good. Like, we've got some talent here that are going to push us to hopefully take that next step. And that goes a really long way. And I have to commend the staff that we've put together, that, we've worked really hard to develop this culture and this roster the way that we want it to be. And, you asked about style of play. We can counter, we can keep the ball, we can defend high up the field, we can sit back. That's a testament to the type of kids that we have. We can do a variety of ways, and we can do it within the same game. We're going to do it based off game plan and the kids that we have.
Awesome. And just lastly, Nicole, I want to give the Lamar fans a chance to get a little bit to know the team a little bit more. If there's one person within the squad who you would say is the karaoke queen, if there's one person who's the best singer, who would that be within your squad?
That's a hard question. Definitely Colby. She's not afraid to sing. Holly, she will try to sing sometimes too. There are like a couple that will sing, but not one that really stands out.
And if you had to do karaoke, what would your song be?
I don't do karaoke. No, I don't really sing.
Well, Nicole, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. It's been great to get to chat with you. We wish you nothing but the best of luck this year, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys on the field very soon.
Thank you for the time. Go Cardinals.
And that's it. That's the show. So thank you so much for taking the time to check out the Southland Conference 2023 Women's Soccer Preview Show. It's been a great time. We've had a chance to chat to all of our different teams, and we're really, really excited for the upcoming season starting on Thursday, August the 17th. Please take the time to check out your local Southland team and go and support them. And we look forward to seeing as many of you as possible in Corpus Christi in November for the Southland Conference Women's Soccer Championship Tournament, as we decide who's going to be representing the SLC in the NCAA tournament. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I've been your host, Callum Squires. We'll look forward to seeing you very soon across our Southland social media. And make sure you remember, Southland versus all y'all. Have a nice day.